Hello to everyone who reads my post. My name is Alex. I always thought I knew who I could trust. I grew up with Nate, my best friend since childhood, and I thought of him as a brother. My sister, Hannah, was someone I'd always watched out for. We weren't just siblings. We were close, almost like partners in crime. That's why, when I found out that Nate and Hannah were seeing each other, it didn't just shock me. It destroyed everything I thought I knew about my life, my family, and my best friend. It all started when I came home from college for a long weekend. My parents had been pushing me to visit, and I figured it'd be a nice break from the stress of school. I hadn't seen everyone in a while, so I was looking forward to catching up. I had no idea that this weekend would be the one that would shatter my world. When I first walked into the house, everything felt normal. My parents were in the kitchen, and Hannah was sitting on the couch. She smiled when she saw me, and we exchanged some small talk. I asked about her life, and she mentioned that she was hanging out with some guy, but it didn't seem serious. At least, that's what I thought. I had no idea she was talking about Nate, the guy I considered my brother. She'd never mentioned him like that before. That night, Nate came over. He was the same as always, cracking jokes, having a beer with me, just like the old days. But as the night wore on, I noticed something odd. He seemed different. He was looking at Hannah in a way that made me uncomfortable, like there was something between them that I couldn't quite put my finger on. I tried to brush it off. Maybe I was just being paranoid. The next day, after I went for a run, I came home to find Nate and Hannah sitting together in the living room. They were talking, but there was something in the air that felt wrong. I couldn't explain it. I didn't think too much of it, but the tension between them was undeniable. It wasn't until the following week, when I was back at college, that the truth hit me like a ton of bricks. A mutual friend, someone I hadn't spoken to in a while, texted me. "Man, I thought you knew." The message started. "Nate and Hannah have been seeing each other for months." I stared at the phone, rereading the text over and over, hoping I was misunderstanding it. But no matter how many times I looked at it, the truth didn't change. I was furious, but more than that, I felt betrayed. Nate, my best friend, the one person I trusted more than anyone, had been lying to me this entire time. And my sister? She was just as guilty. I didn't know how to process the feeling of being stabbed in the back by the two people I'd always cared about most. I tried to keep it together. I didn't want to cause a scene, especially not with Hannah. But every time I saw Nate, it was like something had shifted between us. It wasn't the same anymore. I couldn't look at him without feeling this burning resentment. And with Hannah, it was worse. She started acting distant, avoiding me whenever the topic came up. I tried to bring it up once, but she just shrugged it off, acting like nothing was wrong. Then, during a family dinner a few weeks later, everything came crashing down. We were all gathered in the kitchen, having a casual conversation. Nate walked in, his usual smile plastered on his face, but I could tell something was off. There was this weird tension in the air that I couldn't ignore. And then, like it was nothing, he casually dropped the bombshell. "So, when are you coming by to hang out with us?" he said, looking at me with a knowing grin. "Us?" I asked, confused. "Yeah," he said, like it was no big deal. "Hannah and I have been seeing each other for a while now. I thought you knew, man." My heart sank. I felt like the room was spinning. I didn't know what to say. The betrayal hit me harder than I could have imagined. I thought I knew these people. I thought I could trust them, but they'd been lying to me, manipulating me, for months. It wasn't just that Nate had been seeing my sister. It was the way he treated her, the way he used her. He'd been using her emotions, playing with her heart. Also, he could get what he wanted. He never loved her. He just wanted to sleep with her, to have some kind of conquest. And once he'd gotten what he needed, he tossed her aside, like she was nothing. I confronted Nate about it. I couldn't keep it in any longer. "You were just using her, weren't you?" I demanded. "You never cared about her. You just wanted to get into her pants." He looked at me with that same smug expression. "What did you expect, man? I'm not the one who fell in love with her. She was the one who wanted it. I just gave her what she wanted." My blood boiled. I couldn't believe my ears. He'd been toying with her emotions the entire time, making her believe he cared about her when, in reality, he was just using her to satisfy his own needs. And the worst part? He had the nerve to say it so casually, like it was nothing, like she was just a game to him. I turned to Hannah, hoping for some kind of explanation, some kind of apology, but she just sat there, looking at the floor. She was ashamed, and I could see it. She knew what had happened, and she couldn't look me in the eye. It broke my heart. She was just as much to blame. She had let herself fall for him, let him manipulate her. But I couldn't understand why she'd do it, especially knowing how much it would hurt me. The days that followed were filled with arguments, tears, and silence. My family was torn apart by this betrayal. I couldn't look at Nate the same way again. I couldn't even look at my sister the same way. They'd both used me, and for what? So Nate could get what he wanted, and so Hannah could get a taste of something forbidden. The worst part wasn't even that they were together. It was the way it all happened. Nate had used me to get close to her, pretending to be my best friend while secretly pursuing my sister. And when I confronted him about it, he didn't even seem sorry. He didn't care about the damage he'd caused. To him, it was just a game. I didn't know how to move forward after that. My relationship with both Nate and Hannah was shattered. I couldn't trust either of them. They had betrayed me in the worst possible way, and the pain was almost unbearable. I had to cut ties with them both. As for me, I couldn't look at Nate the same way anymore. Our friendship was ruined, and so was the relationship I had with my sister. I couldn't just forgive him, not after what he had done. But even though I was angry, a part of me still hoped that Nate would eventually get what was coming to him. Karma has a way of coming back around, and I couldn't help but believe that it would one day return the favor to him, just like it had done to me. Hannah, though, was the one I worried about most. She's still trying to recover from everything, still trying to rebuild herself after the betrayal. She closed herself off from the world, trying to find a way to heal, but I know it's not easy. I hope she'll come back from this stronger, but for now, I can only watch and support her as best as I can. Our family will never be the same. The trust that was shattered may never fully be repaired, but I have to believe that somehow, in the end, things will find a way to right themselves.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I'd really appreciate it if you took a moment to click that button. I put a lot of effort into searching through Reddit, so you can enjoy the stories I found just for you. You already know what to do. Comment what you think about this story. I'll respond to you. See you in the next video.